Do you find any part of the apocalyptic narrative or prophecies in Orthodox Islam compelling and definitely connected to the prophetic tradition? You see, these are some very fascinating questions. I find that I think that a lot of the apocalyptic things, I don't think they're authentic, generally speaking. I think they're more kind of, they're more in line with what human beings generally carry as a narrative of the apocalypse. I think some of them are there. I do find that I'm sure that some of these things were definitely had some substance to them. They were genuine. They were words of the Prophet. Some of them, like things like that, that a time will come when there will be confusion or there will be stuff like this, which I would say pretty much we live in it regardless today. But and just general things. But I really find fascinating. You see, the problem with apocalyptic narratives is they're pessimistic. They're kind of doom and gloom. They're kind of like Dostoevsky. They're kind of like all very, you just want to slit your wrists and a bit death metal kind of like, just bleed and die. And like, so what I find fascinating is the hadith about the apocalypse, which I do feel are true, that the Prophet said that the final hour will come and one of you will be planting a plant. And he said that the hour will establish, meaning the apocalypse will be upon him, the end of time. And he said, فَلْيَزْرَعْ, let him continue to plant. And he said that one of you will be eating a morsel of food, eating some food, and the hour will be upon him. And he said, and let him continue eating. You see, I find those things very, because they're very positive. They are all about positivity and about moving forward. Like, do what you have to do in this world. See it through. They're not like doom and gloom and all about this, the world's going to end and everybody's just crying and, all Muslims are going to... And I think we inherited a lot of that from Christians, from the Jewish community, and some from other people as well. So that's as far as that is. As to the description in the Quran about when the world comes to an end, that how, let's say, planets will collide and stuff like this. I mean, that kind of stuff is when, let's say, the universe has collapsed in on itself and there's destruction. That kind of stuff is true. But that's not to take away from... Human beings will probably be all cease to exist by that point. But the point is that how do we move forward? Like, I watched this clip recently of Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. I think it's an old clip, but it was surfaced. I mean, it was doing the rounds recently, where he was saying that he was speaking of like sci-fi, and he said that in the Muslim world there is no sci-fi, like there is no Star Wars or stuff like this, because Muslims have become almost incapable of thinking of a future. Like, we are just stuck in a nostalgic past, a Bollywood, that's my word, a Bollywood version, a highly romanticized version of the past. Like, oh, our past was so epic. Oh, our past was so epic. What past was epic? I mean, the people who say that usually have not studied history. But we're so stuck in this that we're not a people of the future. We're not a people that think of like sci-fi or think of things like this. And that's why Hamza Yusuf was saying that, it's impossible for things like Star Wars and these things to fly in the Muslim world, because our minds are so shut off. Like, we think, but the world's gonna end, what's the point? And right, so let's take a look.